It wasn't until recently that I actually understood how much tax we actually pay. Take the median Australian salary of roughly $1,500 per week. Of this, expect to pay roughly $300 in income tax, leaving you with $1,200. Say then you use this to fill up your car weekly, that's gonna cost you or set you back another $150. And of this $150, you're gonna be roughly paying 1/4 in fuel excise and an additional 10% in GST. So of this $150, roughly $50 is tax. Then say you go grocery shopping for your family and spend $200 a week on groceries. You can expect to pay anywhere from 5 to 10% on average on the shop, which equates to another $20 in tax. Then say you decide to put away $200 so that over Christmas, you can then go overseas for a trip with your family. Well, if you do this, expect the following. First, 10% GST on domestic travel, a passenger services charge, which is a charge from the airports, a safety and security charge, which is a government charge to fund aviation security, a passenger movement charge, which is a $70 charge per person to leave the country. And then on top of this, there are fuel surcharges, which assist the airlines in case of volatility in the fuel prices. And so of this $200 that you spend on your travel, you're gonna end up paying roughly 50% in taxes and levies. Okay, next, do you own your own home? Well, if so, expect the following. First, council rates, which are based on the value of your home. There are emergency services property levies. And you know, I've even seen on my council rates an additional charge if I want any additional bins. Okay, do you own your own car? Well, expect the following. A 4.2% stamp duty charge on the purchase of the vehicle, a cost to renew your driver's license, registration fees, and how about toll fees? Well, don't own a car? Well, how about paying $11.40 per day on trains? Because that's what's actually happening in Victoria. So, are you sick of paying taxes and need a drink? Well, I'm sorry, but you're gonna be paying more taxes. Spirits are taxed at $107.99 per litre, which is roughly half the cost. Wine equalisation tax, or WET, is 29% of the wholesale cost of the wine. And beer is subject to what's called volumetric excise duty, which goes up or down depending on the alcohol content. However, this roughly makes up 40 to 50% of the cost of the beer, which is some of the highest in the whole of the world. And finally, of this $1,500 gross pay that you received initially, if you're lucky enough to invest it in any assets, expect the following. First, capital gains tax if you ever sell the asset. And second, you're gonna be paying income tax on any income earned, such as any dividend or rent income or anything else. So you do the math. Of this $1,500, how much are you actually seeing? Let me know in the comments. And did you know